All right, at this point, you should have sketched your car with an opening either at the bottom or in around the middle maybe, or a little bit above the bottom for the base to insert into, and this slot right here. You want to right click, edit, look at your sketch, make sure you've got this dimension on a curvy wheelbase that looks circular. If you don't have a circular wheelbase, you just need to make sure you can fit in a wheel that has a diameter of 1.65 inches. So if I come to this center and I click and I dimension that circle and I type in 1.65, that is the size of an actual wheel. Now that's a pretty tight fit, but I think it'll work. If you're concerned, you can make this dimension 0.88, you can make it a little bit bigger. But again, if you don't have a circular wheelbase, maybe in a Jeep or something like that, just make sure you have an opening that will fit this circle. All right, now I'm going to delete, I'll just hit undo that circle that I drew. All right, so what we're going to do now is make sure that our side profile fits our base. So our side profile has been resized to maintain its proportionality, but we put this dimension on, which ended up affecting all the dimensions. The car got a little bit bigger than it originally was. I'm going to put this sketch side by side with the base so you can see what I'm talking about, that they don't match. I'm going to hit the check mark. I'm going to right click, copy sketch. Then I'm going to come into the original base that we had, and I'm going to start a new sketch. I'm going to hit sketch, front plane, and then I'm going to get out of here. Now sketch 2 right now is blank, so I'm going to right click, paste into sketch, and there we go. Okay, now I'm going to manipulate the position of this by, I'll show you how. Right click on sketch 2, edit, now we're in sketch 2. There's a tool called transform. You'll probably have to hit the drop down under linear pattern to find it. Select transform, highlight the entire sketch, it'll turn orange. Go to the square icon right here and drag the car over. Then go to this little circle icon and rotate the car. You want to rotate it 90 degrees. If you're having trouble getting 90 exactly, you can actually type in 90 and hit enter. Okay, I'm going to move it a little bit more. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to line up the center of the wheel with the center of the axle holder. Okay, and I'm going to click once, or maybe twice. There we go. All right, so it should be pretty obvious. If my axle is here, going through the center of my wheel, right? I've lined that up with this point. This is the center of the axle holder. So that, imagine the axle going right through here. So that's where I've got it lined up with the axle position on the side view. But look down here, clearly my axle holder needs to move. So my car is not long enough. Well, how am I going to make these match? Well, the magic number is this number right here. This is the distance from one axle to the other, 5.767. Now that's my sketch. Your value will be unique to your car. But that's what I got when I resized my wheels, 5.767. So what am I going to do? I'm going to, first of all, suppress sketch 2 because I don't need to look at it. I'm going to sketch 1, right click, edit. Okay? We need to relax this dimension right here. Your sketch should be completely black. Okay? We need to turn off this dimension because it's about to get bigger. Not turn off, delete. Right click, delete. Okay, notice a lot of stuff turned blue. That's fine. We're going to go to the point function. And we're going to zoom in on the axle holder. And if you notice, if you just hover, boom, you get like this little square, and that's in the center of this line. Well, let's drop a point in there and zoom out. And zoom in here, and let's do the exact same thing at the lower axle holder. Okay, the distance between those 2 points, right? This is where the top axle is going to be. This is where the bottom axle is going to be. I think it was 5.767. So I'm going to turn on the dimension tool, right? And I'm going to click both of those points, drag out, 5.767, enter. Okay, and oh, everything just went crazy because I didn't have that little rectangle fully constrained. Let's go back. And this rectangle kind of blew up. I'm going to hit escape, turn off my tools. Look at this. That shouldn't be happening. So I'm going to horizontally align those 2 points. Okay. So let's try it again. Let's change that dimension to 5.767. Okay, my base just got a lot longer. I'm going to hit the check mark, and then I'm going to go to sketch 2, which was my profile, and unsuppress it. And nothing's lined up, so I'm going to move the sketch 2, right click, edit, transform, highlight the whole sketch, and we'll just drag it up until it looks lined up. I'll click once, click twice. All right, now this point and this point should be horizontally aligned. I don't know if it'll let me align one sketch to another. It did. There you go. So what I should see now is that the axles are lined up. That means the length of the base is correct. Okay, that's good. So I'm going to do 2 things. I'm going to put the final dimension on the length of the base, and then I'm also going to add a notch right here that's going to go into this little area. Okay, so it's going to be a notch that's 3.125 inches long. So let's go back into sketch 1. So again, I'm going to suppress. You know what? You could leave it on. It might actually help. I'm going to right click, edit sketch 1. Oh, sketch 2 disappeared. Okay. So I'm going to use my line tool to draw, starting from the line. Make sure it turns orange. Click, drag, click, drag, click, drag. So make sure it's horizontal and vertical, right? And then I'm going to use my trim tool to delete the line inside. Now, if you're wondering why this little line is there, that's an extension line from a dimension. If you notice, it doesn't turn orange. If an actual line would turn orange when you hover over it, this one does not. So don't worry about it. Now, the amount that this sticks out, right, the distance from this line to this line is 0.125, 125 thousandths. Okay, right? But I need to know where this is. I'm going to hit escape. I don't know where this slot begins and where it ends. So I need a reference point. I'm going to use this point, which is where my axle is located, and figure out how far is this corner from this axle. So I'm going to hit my check mark. I'm going to go back into sketch 2. Okay, and I'm looking for the distance from my axle to where that tab begins. So let's zoom in, and I need the distance from axle to the beginning of this notch. That distance on my sketch, right? Yours is going to be different. I'm just going to hit enter, 1.386. That's the same dimension I need from this point to this corner so that everything lines up, 1.386. So I'm going to go back into sketch 1, and I'm going to put a dimension from the axle location to this corner of 1.386. Enter. Okay, hit the check mark, and look at that. Axles are lined up, and this is going to fit in perfectly. Now, the bottom has not been correctly sized, so this needs a reference also, right? Where is this point? Well, I could just say, how long is this slot from here to here? That's probably the easiest way to do it. So let's go into Profile, and it says that this piece is 3.125 inches. Come back to sketch 1, and let's make this piece exactly 3.125 inches long. Hit the check mark, and now it looks like it's going to fit perfectly. So axles are lined, top axle is lined up, bottom axle is lined up, and this extra tab I just built is going to fit in perfectly to this little piece. So let's finish up the base by drawing the tab on the other side. I'm going to use this little trick. I'm going to hover here and go straight across, click, drag. I'm going to start here, go straight across, click. So it's horizontally aligned. I just hit escape on my keyboard, and now I just need to make sure that I say how far the tab is sticking out. So this length right here, which is the same thing, I could click on this line and type in 0.125, right, and it turns black. Now I need to trim this line so the laser doesn't cut it, or else the tab will fall off. Hit the check mark, and there you go. So these look like they're going to fit together. If you actually want to assemble the pieces, you can do an assembly. I'll do that in another video, but you need to extrude your pieces. So you would extrude this piece and hit the check mark, and then you would hit go into sketch 2. Well, let's see if we can do it. Extrude this guy, and then you're supposed to change the depth to 125 thousandths of an inch. Probably extruded the first one too much. So the default is 1 inch. So I'm going to go back into extrude 1, edit, and change the depth to 125 thousandths of an inch, 0.125, because that's the actual thickness of the wood, approximately. There you go. So now we have parts instead of just sketches. You don't have to do that, but in an assembly we can connect these pieces to see if they fit together.